Of course, Damien Jackson, attorney here in the city, joining us to kind of break down what's happening today with the sentencing. We do want to bring him in right now and talk a little bit more about this sentence now. Bill Cosby sentenced to 3 years, no less than 3 years behind bars. We still don't know if he'll be taken into custody right away, where he'll be taken at this point, or which correctional facility he'll be taken to. But Damien, just initially, your reaction to hearing this right now.
Well, like I said earlier, it's not surprising after he was deemed to be a sexually violent predator.
Earlier today, that's what Judge O'Neill said, and I mean, the writing was on the wall pretty much at that point.
At that point, it was writing on the wall, and I'm a little surprised by the actual sentence, 3 to 10 years, no less than 3 years.
No more than 10.
Right, I thought it might have come in a little bit lighter than that, but we definitely knew he was going to prison today.
Yeah, especially, like you said, once he was declared, sexually violent predator. Also, were you surprised? I know the defense had been, adamant on talking about Cosby's health, his age, things like that, and hoping that that would keep him out of prison, but it doesn't seem like that affected the judge's decision one bit.
Well, he could have gone for, a longer term of incarceration easily in a case like this. So I think that it was taken into consideration, but I believe that the judge felt that he had to do some time in jail. Even if we're only considering this one case against one victim, it deserves some jail time in the judge's opinion, based on probably what happened in the pre-sentencing report from the Department of Corrections, his lack of showing any remorse, making any type of comments at all. I think all of that weighed into the fact that, yes, he was going in.
We're seeing Bill Cosby earlier today going into the courthouse. Let me ask you a question. The fact that he did not say anything during the sentencing hearing, made no statement whatsoever, do you think that hurt him?
I think it did. I think that he could have crafted a very well apology without implicating himself, and maybe that might have at least swayed the judge, at least somewhat. Without him saying anything, just being stoic, sitting there almost like a stone, gave the judge no reason to back off of his sentence for any reason.
And we've really seen no real reaction from him at all, even from the sentencing initially when he was found guilty all the way back in April to now. We're hearing that there's been no real reaction to anything that's happened, even in the sentencing phase. So I haven't heard from Joe Holden. He's our reporter inside the courtroom. It'll be interesting to see if there was any reaction at all from Bill Cosby in light of the fact that now he knows it should become very real to him that he's going to jail.
This was sort of long, too. I mean, they announced that a verdict was come out about 1:30, 1:35, and this is 40 minutes later. What was going on in there for 40 minutes?
I can only imagine. Well, first off, they probably didn't come back at 1:35.
No.
That's always the suggested time.
Yes, there's lots of leeway in court.
It's always a little fluff in there. But I would think maybe the judge read his sentencing probably about 15, 20 minutes at the most.
And does he explain his rationale behind the decision usually?
Usually, in a case like this, when he knows that it's going to have such media coverage, he probably would go and be very meticulous as to why he sentenced him the way he did. I would be surprised if he would have just came out and said 3 to 10. Have a good day.
Yeah, and that's it. And we also talked about just the impact of this case in general, really being at the forefront of the Me Too movement and this climate that we're in right now, and that may very well have been what swayed the second jury to convict him back in April, and also the judge possibly, knowing the impact of that now. Do you think that was why maybe he said, okay, he has to have some jail time?
I think so. I think the judge definitely looked at this case and said, this is a watershed moment. Okay, we have a celebrity who has been accused, and I have to take this seriously. I have to dot all the I's, cross all the T's, and make sure that I'm not showing any favoritism one way or another, so that everybody, as best, can be satisfied.